Hi, everyone.
As you can see, we're overlooking downtown La Mesa in the village where there were some shocking happenings last night. Now, we need to remember something. Yesterday here in La Mesa, there were three different groups of people. The first group, and I'm sure the largest group, were those who came to honor the memory of George Floyd and to protest a string of killings that have been unjust. Now, we know that not all the killings that were purported to be police brutality turned out to be, but we need to stay focused on the ones that are. And so these people came not only to honor George and his family, but also to protest the violence that sometimes has taken place. And so we need to stand with those that are standing for justice, because we're all for justice. The second group, of course, was with anything like this, you have the criminals that are looking for an opportunity, distraction, so they can loot and rob. And the third group, of course, is the one that would be most worrisome, and that is the anarchists, those that look for an opportunity like this to just try and destabilize civil society. And so they're anti-capitalist, and so we saw them burn to the ground two banks in La Mesa, one which has been my bank for 35 years. But it's important that we treat each group separately, and that we don't let the excesses of the criminals and the anarchists drown out what people are saying as they exercise their right to call attention to certain problems in our society.
And you know, Mark, we also have to remember that we're just talking about such a small number of people. And this morning, 1,000, 1,500 people came down here. Some of our own staff were on their way down here to help clean up the mess. And at 11 o'clock this morning, you just look out here and you can, most of the graffiti is completely wiped down. On my way here, there was I'm assuming a husband and wife wiping graffiti off of signs to get on the freeway. It's just such a small number of people compared to the 3.9 million people that live in San Diego County.
Perhaps 1,000 people were rioting, but 3.4 million weren't. And you know, for every single person that was rioting, there was probably at least 100 that are praying for the peace in our community and for God's goodness and God's mercy and God's judgment and God's kindness to be said. You see, we are the salt of the earth, and it's incumbent upon us to do those things. Like David mentioned, even for all the people that came down and helped, 1,000, there were many more who didn't come down because they heard the report that there wasn't any room for them. So we're the salt of the earth, and one of the things we want to do is in tonight's service, our wonderful Pentecost service, we want to take some time and pray for the healing of our communities, for the healing of America. We want to pray that God would uproot the anarchists that want to destabilize our society, and that He'd bring justice and healing between the peoples.
And we still have room tonight in the 7:30 overflow service, which will be just like the other one, live band in the youth auditorium. But I did want to mention one other thing before we close here. I called Mayor Bill Wells because we wanted to find out what the city of El Cajon was doing to prepare themselves in case something like this began to happen tonight. And he said, don't worry, we are, I quote, super prepared for anything that would happen. Tell your people to go to church, they have nothing to worry about. And he said if something would happen, he would either text you or I immediately. So I just want to assure you that it's safe to go to church tonight. Our services are 5:30, 7:30, and we hope to have everything filled up. I'm really excited about it tonight. We actually we're going to have people in the sanctuary worshiping Jesus, and we can also,
first big service.
You just said, we can take some time and pray about this. We can intercede for God's peace and love to come into this situation. So hopefully see you all tonight, 5:30 or 7:30. Well, not all, but as many as can come.
Yeah, because if you're at home, you can pray with us. And remember this, that this is not a time for Christians to be afraid. This is a time for Christians to stand. The Spirit of God will strengthen us, and God wants us to be the healing, the salt of the earth. And so let's stand tall in prayer, and let's not be shaken.
See you guys.